Hello, hello. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, girl.
You.
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining us at Black Women
You're
Owned Let's
welcome.
Talk.
Yes.
This is going to be great.
This
Today
new
we
and improved setup, I just can't take it. Okay.
we're streaming from so many places. So many places, but today we're streaming from YouTube, from LinkedIn, Instagram. We're talking today about positioning your brand for publicity and a publicist. And before we get into it, I want to let people know who Black Woman Owned is, and then we're gonna hop right in. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So, for all of you who are new here, Black Woman Owned gives Black women owned businesses visibility through social and digital media to help them increase their annual revenue. And we do that through our online business listing and social platforms and different ways we engage in person events. We are here today to talk to Branda of Branda J. Coms about something very important for business owners, especially the business owners who cannot quite afford to do the hiring and are still doing some DIY, but then the ones who are almost in transition and ready to get going and hire a publicist. So,
Yes.
Branda, can
Yeah.
you let the people know who you are and where you are located?
Okay. So I'm Branda, like she mentioned. I appreciate you, Ariana, for having me on. So I am the owner of Branda J Communications. It is a boutique communications agency and specializing in everything from basis PR specifically, social media management, event planning and management, um, not recently, brand partnerships and also sponsorships for events and things like that. But that's transitioned me recently into like influencer and talent management, or back into, I should say, because it's been done before. But now we're back on it, bigger and better. So yes, all of that. And
Wow.
located, you said I'm based in Houston currently. So
Okay, Texas, stand up. I
Beyonce.
mean, those were a lot of services,
Yeah.
and it's been really great to see you branch off into these different things. So I'm really glad that we have an expert like yourself to talk to our multiple audiences across, streaming in the digital world.
Yes.
So I want to get started by asking you some things about yourself, and then we're going to jump right into this publicity and publicist conversation. So, what led you to actually start your business in the first place?
What led me? So I actually majored in PR. Like it wasn't a random thing. I've had like internships since like the 8th grade. That's around anything communications based. I've done everything in communications at least once. Like I've been the journalist interviewing people at one point. I've done like the radio randomness and like promotions and social media again and event planning and talent booking. Like I've done everything at least once. Um, and of course, majoring in it, you get experience, but not real life experience. I consider myself like a professional intern at one point. Like I was doing all the work for free. I turned nothing down and did everything. So when I finally, what really threw me into going on my own was COVID. Completely honest. I did get laid off during COVID at an agency I thought I was probably going to stay at for a long time. And after going through the process of applying to 50,000 jobs, I was about to do it again. So I went back was pushed into working for myself, honestly. It's something I thought I was going to happen eventually because I worked with a lot of small, specifically even Black women-owned businesses. It sometimes with just me and them, but did a lot of big things. So I thought it could happen, just not right now. But then COVID was like, no. COVID and God said no, not right now. So I kept going. I went back to work for they asked me back and it was like a couple of months, and it just wasn't fitting. So I just kept going on my own, and now I'm here. So
I know that's
it's
right.
been good. It's been good.
I hear it. It's the story for many of us.
Yes.
Either layoffs or misalignment. It for Black women in general. I've seen studies where we go and we create places where we just have not been able to receive what we need for our career path and our personal selves at the same time.
And honestly, COVID for me was a decent time. That's like networking wise. Like you didn't have to like go anywhere or do. Everybody was right there. And that was like clubhouse days and stuff. So getting like leads and stuff, it took me no time. I think I created a website in 2 weeks, and I was like, "This is what we're gonna do."
Come on.
And went for it. Not the website I have now. That was not me, but like previous ones. So,
Still, that's beautiful. Multiple skills. I see you. I see you.
Gotta do
So you started this business. We're thrown into it, but now what is your vision for your communications firm?
vision. I feel like I'm currently in the vision, which is
Okay.
kind of weird. It's very strange. I feel like this is like new territory for me because I've been doing everything for myself for so long, just me. I've had like a couple of interns and everything, but I finally decided I can't do everything on my own anymore. So shout out to the team that we slowly are building up. It's a small team, and I want to kind of keep it that way. Like I said, only because I've worked with other women who've had small teams, and you can still do big things with small teams. It's just keeping it close and making it make sense. So having other people be able, I can pass things off. I can actually like, I'm really just looking forward to not shouting on my own birthday, but my birthday's on Saturday. I'm looking forward to actually putting up an out of office message. I've never in the last 4 years put out an out of office message. So I'm like excited to be like, can you handle this for me? But I still have my hands in everything. So it's not like I'm passing everything off and you'll never see me again. I just want help so I can actually grow and live. So that's a thing. And I actually can see it from my clients how I feel like I'm helping them. Like they pass things off to me, so now I can pass things off to other people. I see the magic now. I can like speak to it. Like I get it. I can do it for you because I've had other people doing it for me. So it works.
That's the word. You said getting other people so you can watch yourself grow and the magic. Like that is so real. All right, y'all. I know y'all are wondering, okay, when are we going to talk about publicity for my brand and Publicist, getting with Publicist? We're going to do it right now. Brenda, 4 years. It's been a while, but also you went to college, so you've seen some things too in the PR world. What are some of the biggest mistakes you've seen business make when they're trying to secure publicity?
Okay, so I'm gonna preface this by saying no shade. Like this, no shade to anybody.
Not anything personal, guys.
Nothing personal. It's not about anybody specific.
But this is to help us.
But yes, for sure. I would immediately say thinking everything is newsworthy because not everything is.
Okay.
And yeah, it's also like with the timing situation, like everything is not going to be prevalent in the moment. You have to kind of wait your time. For example, like this is an election year. Like it's not always going to be about you, and it's not going to make sense every time. So kind of just like pitching stuff whenever, or not doing your research and saying like this even makes sense for everybody wants to be in Forbes or like Essence or whatever, but this makes sense for the person you're talking to. That also makes a difference. Research, everything isn't newsworthy. And thinking everything's going to be instant, because that's not the case. Like it takes time. Things take time. Even big brands and big CEOs, it still takes time. So keep that in mind. And I think that's a biggest mistake. And also reaching out too late. Again, timing makes a difference.
Okay.
Yeah, just give yourself a runway, honestly.
What's a good runway? Because now, I didn't even think about election year. You are so wow.
For a good few months, nobody's gonna be talking about anything else but Trump and Biden. You might have to pivot a little bit, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you can't do the things that you want to do, but it might have to be done differently. Like right now we're on a live. Maybe it's like you're doing something live version versus like reaching out to media specifically. Not saying you can't launch anything at the moment, just do it differently. Like you're gonna have to pivot. Just like there's so many ways that you can get things out at this point, TikTok and all the other things. Like it doesn't have to be specific to media, because it's definitely not gonna be about you for a few months. I can say that. But there's other things that you can do. Blog posts, emails, all of that's good. Just find your avenue and stick with it anytime. Not just election year, but keep that in mind for any period of time.
Okay. Sure. All right. So y'all heard it. Not everything is newsworthy. That's a mistake that business professionals, entrepreneurs sometimes make, but that's why we
Or
talk
needs a
about.
press release. That's a different situation though.
Wait, hold on, go back, say it again.
Or needs a press release, because sometimes that's an argument for everybody these days. I feel like PR people specifically are talking about that. Like, do we need them specifically anymore? I think they're still good for information, but it's not like I'll go on like say like a Upwork or a Fiverr or something, and you're thinking like, I just need a press release for this one thing in this month, and that's all I need you to do is write it for me. It's like, what are you gonna do with it? What's the point of like, how's it going out? Do you even need that? Could you just pitch a reporter specifically? Like, there's different ways, and that's just not how to go about it.
Okay.
Again, no
not personal. We are just trying to help us position our brands for publicity. So knowing that not everything is newsworthy. I also have a degree in public relations. So that's the newsworthy term, like that is at the forefront of all things.
Yeah.
Not everything is newsworthy, everyone, and not everything needs a press release. And consider the landscape of what's happening in the world before going out and doing things. Got it. Okay.
Yes.
Now, let's get a little bit more specific because the people want to know. What are 5 things every business owner should have set before pitching publicity? For publicity. For
pitching themselves. Okay.
Yes.
The basics, like,
what's the basics?
The website up to date? that's good. Okay. Even if you don't have a website specifically, like, can people find you in one place? Like, if you have a big link tree and they can go to all your things, you just have to be able to send something tangible for people to find you. When's the last time you took a headshot? Like, that's as like simple as like, are your pictures updated? If you're selling products, do you have new brand photos? Like, what does that look like? Like the basics, like take it back to the basics. Do you even know who you're talking to? is a thing. Not that can't be refined, but you know who you're selling things to, or who you're trying to serve, or who your community is. Like, you should know all of those things. What else do you need? Yeah,
that's true.
We say 5. Like, what do we say? 5?
Well, I think the basics are like what you're saying: headshot, our updated contact information.
Yes, like if you moved, is the address updated on the website? Like, those simple things that you just missed are helpful to have for you pitching yourself. Like, know what you're talking about. If you're having an event, do you have the venue already? Like, things like that. Do you know who your speakers are? Do you know, like, all of those things? Like, you need everything in place, because you don't want to just be up there talking about nothing or saying that you're having an event, but like, where is it? Because they're not going to do it. Even content of showing you speaking, like, what does that look like? Are your social media pages set up already? Even if it doesn't have content, do you have just the page set up so we can find it and make sure you're the real you? Like, the basics. And some people don't have the basics.
Okay. This is what I'm hearing, y'all. The basics are a lot of little details, which sometimes can get lost, especially. So with me, I'm a marketer by trade, although I have a degree in PR. So I see things differently as a business owner than somebody with maybe a finance background running a business. I always have my marketing lens on. So when we say basics, y'all, we have to, like Brenda's saying, headshots. And even if you don't have a headshot, a nice profile photo of who you are. You said something really important. Who are you talking to?
Yeah. Who are you talking to? That's a thing, because everything is not for everybody, and that's okay. So who do you want to talk to? That's very important. Keep that in mind.
So we need to have our target personas or our target audience in mind before we try to get any publicity.
Yes. Actually, also one more thing to add: are you ready for it? That's a thing. And now, are you ready for it? And it's like, can you pay for it or anything like that? If you gain something media-wise tomorrow and you have like a product or something and people sell it out, like, are you ready for the capacity of people, that many people viewing it, or being ready for visibility? That's important also. Because I think that was also a thing during COVID, specifically when everybody was on the Black owned list for this. So it was like, there's 100 Black businesses that you need to buy in beauty, or like that was just a time. And that was great for all of the businesses, but they couldn't keep up with some of the like commotion they were getting. And that's important. So if you're not ready to sustain it.
So stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
That's the word right there.
That's like what it is. So the basics, y'all. When we talked about our top 5, there are multiple things. A place where people can find you, and I like that you said it doesn't necessarily have to be a website, like a full blown out situation, but there has to be something where somebody goes and confirms this person is the CEO, this is their business, here is their contact information. Very important. Do all your links work? So if you provide a link to, a reporter or anybody, is it going to the right place?
Yes.
These basic things are small, but they carry so much weight.
Because they'll pass on you immediately. Like if it doesn't work, I'm not about to search for it. There's somebody else.
Say it one more time.
Instead. They'll pass on you. We don't want to get passed on. That's not it. So yes, they'll definitely I can't. It has to be accessible, very much so, especially for a reporter who's getting hundreds or however many emails a day from people who are also trying to be out there. And that's just the basic of like reporting. But if you're on social media and your links don't work, I'm going to the next one anyway. Or like as simple as like think about if you're scheduling with a hairstylist and their thing don't work, I'm asking my friend to send me the next braider. Like who else works? Because I can't schedule an appointment. So basics.
I like that. If I were to schedule an appointment and I can't reach the contact, I'm done. We're done. So goodbye. And I think that also speaks to, are you ready for it? So what I've seen when businesses are a little bit more buttoned up on the front end, I can't even say most likely. There are instances where they're also buttoned up on the back end and they're ready. I think something that we forget about public relations is that there has to be a strategy. We have to think about what is this going to do. We're going to talk about a plan later too, y'all.
Talk about a plan.
Talk about it. All right. So the basics, you all. Contact information, places going to your right site, updated photos if you have it, knowing who your audience is. And I want to add knowing who you are pitching to, their audience.
Yes, that's that research part of things. Again, everything is not for everybody. Everybody just because they work at a certain place does not mean that's the person who you're supposed to be talking to. And they're just going to be mad because you're in their inbox, cluttering of their inbox. You're like still talking to human beings at the end of the day. Like just as you would get upset, like, what is this? They feel exactly the same way. They're people. Reporters are people. That's like,
I couldn't. Wow. I'm just thinking about the influx of emails. Whoa. All right, y'all. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat wherever you're located. We're all over the place streaming. So wherever you are, please send us a question if you have anything pertaining to 5 things or the handful of things every business owner should have before pitching for publicity. Now, we talked about a lot just now. However, is there anything else? We talked about the plan, kind of. Is there anything else you recommend businesses do to position themselves for publicity before having a publicist? So like that middle area, that weird space. Where you have
I would say also for that specifically, refine like what your ideas are, like what you want to focus, like I don't like telling people like they need to niche down always, but if you're brainstorming ideas, like pick one and stick with it. You have to see what works. That's the same with like if you're doing like social media strategy at the same time, like, yeah, these reels work, but maybe try something different, or like you have to stick with something and see what that 30 days at least or that week looks like. Because people have ideas and they want to, I'm doing a podcast today and I'm launching this tomorrow and I'm doing this today. Like, we got to stick with one idea. Otherwise, everything's just going to be all over the place. You're not executing anything. And that one makes me sad. Honestly. No, it doesn't.
I mean, we get excited as
we do get excited, but a focus is good.
Get it down. And I agree. So I had had to do the same thing with Black Woman Owned. Even though we still do multiple things, we do them in a very specific way.
Yes, there's a time for it. Not saying that you can't do the podcast later, but are you consistent in this area right now? Or are we focusing on this? Or you're having this campaign that you want to do. You want to raise money for this specific thing. Like, how long are you gonna run it? Like, it didn't work for 2 days, so now I'm gonna jump to the next. Like, no, like we gotta keep at it, because you're not gonna get the results that you want.
That's important. Thinking about how long things are going for. This reminds me of an artist who dropped an album, and instead of just having like one single, this artist the whole year was driving us home with music like the entire year for one album, and then the next year had a remix of like the whole entire album. And it just makes me think about business the same way too. These things take time, and it's okay to take our time with specific topics or just things in general. Okay, so what are some good indications that a business is ready for a publicist?
Again, no shade. This is not. How do I say this in a nice way? Not nice way, but one is budget. And we're just going to be completely honest about it, because you are paying somebody for a service. And we talked about just now, all the things that really go into that service and take away from you, like that you don't have to do. You don't have to do the research. You don't have to do the follow-ups. You don't have to do the writing. Because every pitch email that you send, we try not to send out like blanket ones and like mass emails or whatever. Like, we try to get very specific about who we're talking to, be very personal with the person. Like, you don't have the time because you're running a business. So are we. So we're trying to, you have to essentially have the budget for it. And I think of it as like an essential person on your team. Just like you would have like an assistant. Like, this is somebody that you need for a long-term period. So think of it long-term, not just like one-off project. Because sometimes those don't often work. Has to be like a bigger thing. A lot of sometimes money going into it, a bigger event or things like that. But think of it, your budget that you're having it in for a long-term period, and that you're like really trying to build your reputation. Because again, like we mentioned, things take time, like a lot of time. I've been going back and forth with some reporters for months, just because like I typically work with a client in like 6-month periods. And even that window is getting a little shorter than what it used to be. So just know that things are going to take time. So if it's a mindset, it's having the budget for it. And that can range because everybody has different budgets and what they allow and what services you need. But like, just having the mindset and the budget, I think, would be the top two if you already have your basics in place. Because realistically, publicists at the core can only amplify like what you have. Because if I'm not working with anything, it's hard for me to get things off the ground. And me specifically, if we have to go back, go over what messaging looks like, that's fine. But some other people, it's like everything has to be ducks in a row or we can't do anything with it. So yes, keep that in mind.
That makes sense. I think that publicity, marketing, and advertising, social media, people kind of forget that those all play different roles.
Yes, but all work together.
Yes. But there's different people who can do those things. I think it can be confusing sometimes as a business owner where it's like, I don't know. I thought that you do all of these things. You only do one of these things.
Sometimes we do. There's a cost attached to it. But then sometimes we definitely do. Like, we can do the PR side and social media. I actually like when I get to do all of the things because I have control over all of the things. Like, everything is the same. The content that you're putting out is the same as like what you're pitching to the media, and like the blog you're writing on your website is the same as the email. Like, everything just works together. And that's something to keep in mind, that you need everything to work together. So if I can work with a social media person that you have on your team, that's great. If I can do it all, just know that you need it all. And it's a long-term situation, not just a one and done or a one off, or we can take time off and pick it back up again. Like, no, there's always something for you to talk about, and different ways for you to talk about it.
Hello, we love a plan.
Love a plan.
So I think you kind of talked about this. The things take time, and also that you are multifaceted. What are some other expectations that clients should have with publicists? Let's demystify some things real quick.
Okay. Expectations. So let's keep it on the basics of things. Like we said, media wise, like everybody wants to be in Forbes. I hear that one a lot, and I feel like I use that example a lot. But Forbes is not end all be all. But every article is also not going to be just about you. There's nothing wrong with being quoted as like an expert. That's actually an amazing thing to be quoted as an expert, to say this person knows what they're talking about, but it's still in an outlet that you love. Again, like in those things also take time, but being quoted in something is great. Don't pass on like the small outlets, like, because they also are growing. So why not network across, essentially? You don't know if that reporter who works at that small outlet could be working at CNN one day and they remember you. Like or that small outlet can reach 10 people that didn't know about you, and that's 10 more people who know about you than you had. So don't diss the small stuff. Don't be bigger than that, and that's an expectation you kind of need to curve and manage. Yeah, that honestly, that take time thing is really like on my mind. Maybe it's because the people be trying, but like it's really like you just have to have a mental that you're building something, and I think that's an expectation that you need to have. This is something that's ongoing.
Yes, building a house,
on a reputation, not just a viral moment.
Hello?
Like Risa Teese out here. Other than that, like sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't.
But she had to be ready too. She had to be ready. In a position to keep going.
She had her story and she told it, and that's definitely important. Like having your story, and that's an expectation that you have to tell that in the right way and reach the right people. Engage. Like there's a lot of things that go into it for sure.
All right, y'all. You heard that. Okay, so we talked about plans, so I kind of think I know the answer to this, but what are your favorite aspects when it comes to preparing your clients' assets or stories to go and pitch to press?
Like I guess you did say plan. The brainstorming part, that's the fun part where you get all the things out of your head, because it's like a constant, like, but that doesn't end. I always tell people the planning process is like evergreen type thing. It's an ongoing, like we'll write something out in like in our onboarding process when I get a new client, and then it's there so we can change things as they go. Like I said, current events come up, like elections. People have to talk about what's going on current event wise, Israel and things like that. Like you have to be prepared to like pivot. So it's going to be changing constantly. You want to add stuff. You may get a good idea that could fit at the moment, and then you want to try those things out. But just having a blueprint is helpful to follow for sure. And then actually getting it out, of course, is the favorite part. But
I understand that. And I actually want to talk about that. So you have something very special for the Black woman-owned community when it comes to planning, which you talked about. And maybe we can go into more detail about like the steps in the planning. But Amanda has a code for you all who are listening and interested in getting some Q2 planning done for your company. And can you kind of like, you said planning, but can we go into detail? Like what is Q2 plan? Like what is quarterly planning? What is that?
Ideally you want to do it before the quarter starts. But since we're in it now, that's okay. Like you said, life is still happening. Current events are still going on, and the special days of the year is still special days of the year. Like if anybody didn't know, it's National Decorating Month. It's National it's Financial Literacy Month. There's a bunch of things. So it's like highlighting those specifically is always like a first step. And then narrowing down kind of what you want to talk about, because you don't need to talk about National Ice Cream Day. National Ice Cream Day has nothing to do with you, but those things is what it looks like for planning. Just talking about like planning out what you specifically want to highlight from your business. Again, like I mentioned, if it's Financial Literacy Month and it aligns with you, ideally we want to pitch it out the month before. So right now work on it's April, May. Right now work on May. So that's what that kind of looks like. Just ironing out the things that you want to talk about, who you're going to reach. If it's going to be traditional media wise, are we going to try to do a live like this and reach other people? Are we amping up the blogs this month because the election's around the corner? We don't have time there's no point in pitching out stuff if it doesn't make sense. Yeah. What does social media look like? How does that connect with the emails that we're sending out? Like all those things, just kind of ironing out what that looks like for you.
Okay, y'all. So what we'll do at Black Woman Owned, we'll put in the comments when the video streaming is done, the code and the website. So if you're interested in Q2 planning, even though it's we're 9 days into
9 days, it could be Q3 planning. It's fine.
Q3 planning.
Rest of the year planning.
We'll put that in our comments in all of the streaming places that we're having this conversation once it's done. And I will open it up for 1 or 2 questions. If you all have them, please type it in. If not, Branda, I'll give you guys some time. But Branda, where can we connect with you? Where can the people get in touch?
Yeah, the website's fine. Branda at Branda J. I mean, I guess my email, Branda at Branda J Communications, but the website is Branda J Communications. I really just like to call it BJC these days because honestly, saying my name is too much. But the domain's already set, so that's what it is. Perfect. On Instagram, it's Branda J for the most part. Everything is it's Branda J, and the business is Branda J Comms.
Awesome. Perfect. And is there anything specific you would like outside of using the code that's going to be?
And that code is specifically, I guess, let me explain it. It's specifically for like the one-on-ones, like a short brainstorm, ask me questions, kind of one-on-one. And then we have like the bigger, I actually just realized that it's set up where it like builds on top of each other, because I've had clients go through like the VIP day coaching situation, and we do like write out your whole plan, write out a pitch for you to send and all the things of what that looks like. And not just for media like news media, but like we're talking about content, we'll talk about what things you have to pay for, if that's email marketing, not just like ads or anything, but like your blog posts. Like we'll talk about all of those things, all the medias, and go from there. So the code is for like the brainstorming session. And then if we get the brainstorming session and you want to continue on, people have gone the coaching and become clients of like, you know what, this plan was cute, but I can't do it.
I need some more.
I need more. So, yeah, it builds on top of each other. Either way, we're here to help and we're happy to. So that's the goal. Now that we have a team. Come on. I'm not, spreading myself thin. So
I love that.
Here for it.
I love that. And you've helped many people in the Black Woman Owned community, and I've seen them flourish as a client. So, at Black Woman Owned, not only are we having conversations with people who can help your business, but this conversation itself, we hope helps your business too, Branda. This is the full circle. This is how, we do things over here. I haven't had any questions come in. So
if anybody has any, just reach out to me directly. That's completely fine.
And period. That was the answer to my question.
Of course, you can reach out. No problem.
And can you give them your website one more time, and we will end on that note?
Yes, it's Branda J Communications.com. Everything's spelled out. My email is readily available wherever you need it. I try not to hide from people.
A basic. It's there. We know where to contact you.
We know where to contact you. The easy things, the basics.
This is great. Thank you so much, Branda.
Yes. Thank
Wonderful.
you. I appreciate you as always. And I'm excited for this new setup. Like, I want to watch somebody else on here so I can see what it looks like.
You can run it back. It's going to be recorded on all the platforms, so that's exciting.
Yes,
Probably not Instagram, but everywhere else. All right, you all. Thank you so much for tuning in and staying tuned in. You all have a wonderful, it's only Tuesday. Have a wonderful rest of the week.
Good luck.
Bye.